Today we're going to be taking a look at 5 of my favourite mods to use alongside Vanilla Create. So if you are new here, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and remember to leave a like. So kicking things off with number 5 is Create Deco. This mod does exactly what it says on the tin and adds a bunch of decorational blocks inspired by Create. It adds a lot of different types of bricks. We've got vertical slabs. Come on Minecraft, why ain't you got these yet? And it even adds the ability to place coins on the floor in coin stacks. It's your inner Scrooge McDuck. You can make yourself a nice filled room with a bunch of gold. While different variations of brick are nice, that is not where the mod shines for me. What I really enjoy is going to be the catwalks. These are absolutely lovely. They can be a little bit janky to work with though, so we're just going to place down some temporary blocks. And on top, we're going to add in some catwalks. Coming off of that, we're going to add in some catwalk stairs. And then once we remove those blocks, and look how cool that looks. Imagine this going around the inside or outside of your factory. But we can take it a little bit further and we have got customizable handrails. However, it looks a little bit weird just floating here. So let's add in some brass supports. Or we could just throw in some zinc ones, all sorts of different decorational blocks. And it looks like they've got some bits to make the hull of your train, which is something I really wanted for Create. So that's something I'm going to have to look into in the future. So now that you know what kind of blocks we have access to, I put together a very quick factory concept using some of those blocks. As our main body of our build, we are using these worn bricks. Our windows are going to be made out of cast iron panel bars. We have got andesite doors, netherite ladders, and cast iron trapdoors above to add some kind of canopy. Then over on this side, we have got a concept for a belt support system. And out of all of this, it's the wood on the andesite casing that I'm not too much of a fan of. That can easily be remedied by adding a little bit of wood into our build. But out of all of this, my favorite block is going to be this cast iron mesh fence. I have wanted fencing like this in Minecraft for so long. It's really hard to give off an industrial theme when you've only got access to wooden fences. So that is number 5 on our list. That is Create Deco. I really want to say Create Deco, but you don't say decorating, you say decorating. So it's definitely Deco. Now we're on to number 4, which is going to be the Ender Storage mod. Ender Storage is quite an overpowered storage mod. It only adds 3 items, but it really does add quite an infinite amount of items. I'll show you what that means. So we've got one of these Ender chests. Now, normal Minecraft, you cannot interact with an Ender chest. This one is different. In here, if we go ahead and throw in some of our iron, if we place down another one with the same color combination, we can now access both of these inventories. This is massively overpowered if you want to transport items from one build to the other. But we can take it one step further. Yes, having access to the same chest is wonderful, but if we take a little bit of dye, we can go ahead and just give a little bit of dye to this one. Now it's its own unique inventory. If we put some water in there, we've still got the iron in the white. So just imagine you've got an ender chest at the end of your iron farm. All of it gets pumped into here, then any build that requires iron, you can just pull out of your white. You can do the same for gold, nether quartz, the lot. And you've got access anywhere in your factory to those items. But we don't need to stop there because they also add ender tanks, which much like the ender chests have got an inventory that holds liquids. So if we go ahead and put some water in our white, we now have access to water anywhere with an ender tank that's got white. If we go ahead and color code this with an orange one, and now we have infinite access to all of our lava. Now there is a little bit of a display glitch sometimes that it shows that it's empty of water, but you can see in the top where it says we've got 13 buckets of lava. Very strong indeed. Now the mod also adds ender pouches. Personally, I've never used this, but if it's the same frequency as one of your chests, you can open that chest with your inventory. I suppose it could be kind of useful if you need access to iron or whatever and you're over there. You can go ahead and open that up. I don't even know how you're supposed to dye these. I've never ever used them, so let me know in the comments if you know how to dye these. Is it in the crafting grid or something? Now the next 2 entries in the list actually add 0 items to Minecraft, yet they're still incredibly useful. In at number 3, we have got FTB chunks. What this mod adds, as you may have guessed from the name, is a chunk loader. So in your inventory, in the top left, we have got this claim manager. When you press that button, it brings up this map showing you all of the chunks around you. Now, if you hold down left click and drag or click on any of these boxes, that is going to claim this chunk. What that means is once you're in a claimed chunk, almost in every single instance you are protected from creeper explosions. When a creeper explodes, you're not protected, but your landscape is, which is very useful indeed. You don't want a creeper going off in your factory and blowing up all your belts. It should turn off all mob destruction. It should. But we can take this one step further by holding down shift and clicking on a chunk. That's going to force load this chunk, so even if we're away from this area, that chunk will always be loaded and rendered. Now let me give you an example why that's going to be so powerful. Say you've got yourself a nice little carrot farm. While you're in the area, your carrot farm is going to be farming away. When you leave, however, that carrot farm no longer exists. However, if we go ahead into our chunk manager and we claim that chunk and then go ahead and load it, even if we are away from the area, our carrots are going to continue to be harvested. Now the carrots here are just a metaphor for your create machines and contraptions. Now we're on to number 2 in the list, which is going to be by far my most used mod, even though it adds no items. Now I'm actually going to press F1 to actually hide the HUD and actually show what it looks like in regular Minecraft, which most of you already know, but just for demonstration, when you look at the ground and you see a grass block, you just assume it's a grass block. When you look at your item vault, what's in there, who knows. However, if I re-enable the HUD and look at the ground, in the top it tells us that we're looking at a grass block. Over here, that is a gearbox. That is because nearly every single mod pack has a version of Walia or the One Probe installed. However, there's one that's slightly better for Create, and that mod is number 2 and it's called Jade and Jade add-ons. And why it's the best one for Creator that I have found is because when I look at an item vault, it actually shows me its contents. As you can see here, we have got 10,000 oak planks in this item vault. Over here we've got 2,000 of each cogwheel, and over here we've got a bunch of assorted junk. It's incredibly useful to know what's inside each of your item vaults, so that is why Jade and Jade add-ons are in this list. Now before we hit number 1, go ahead and make sure you are actually subscribed, because you've watched it this long, more Create content is on its way. So number 1 on my list of top mods for Create is going to be functional storage. In my opinion, it is a superior version of the storage drawers mod. And to best demonstrate how this mod works, we are back over at number 5. Over here, we have got a belt that's got a bunch of iron on it. We're going to take one of our drawers and pop it on the end of the belt. Now what we need to do is we just need to take our andesite funnel and swap it to here. That is going to go into this drawer, which by default can hold 2,000 of a singular item. However, we can go ahead and add in some upgrades. So if we throw in a netherite storage upgrade, we can now store 65,000 of any single type of item. But we don't need to stop there. We can add in another netherite upgrade, and that's going to bring it up to 2.1 million items stored in this one singular block. But for those of you curious, if you throw in 4 of these netherite upgrades, you can store 2.1 billion items in this single block. Absolutely overpowered. We can use a storage controller to then link it with other storage drawers and make a storage drawer network. So we take our linking tool, we can right click on our storage controller, right click on our drawer, they are now linked. What this allows us to do is, if we've got iron blocks in our inventory and that drawer is linked, we can just right click on our storage controller and it'll automatically deposit that into this block right here. Very useful if you've got yourself a storage wall where you've got all of your most used items, you can just dump them straight into the drawers. But it gets even better, because not only can we store items, we can also store fluids. That's right, another fluid storage. We can go ahead and throw in a bunch of lava into here, but this really comes into its own because with this storage controller, if we were to pump in any fluids or items directly into this, say we wanted to pump in lava, that'll now get automatically stored in this fluid drawer. And if we were pumping in any iron, it would automatically go into our drawer over here. Now initially we can store 32 buckets of any kind of liquid, but again we can add in some upgrades and now it brings it up to 512 buckets. Another upgrade brings it up to 8.2 million buckets of any kind of liquid. Another upgrade is 131 million, and then maximum storage 2.1 million buckets of any kind of fluid. But when you think it can't get any better, they go ahead and add an ender drawer. So we're going to put one down here connected to our main storage drawer network, and we're going to have one over here. But next, we're going to take the locking tool and give our ender drawer that's connected to our storage controller a nice little punch. Now this one, we can go ahead and put this on our tree farm to say all of our logs are going to go into this drawer. But what we need to do is we're going to crouch and we are going to right click on this ender drawer right here. Now where this becomes extremely powerful is because where we've got our tree farm, it's going to start producing a little bit of log. If we have a look over here at our main storage, we have the same logs. It is a shared inventory, so you can pretty much instantly teleport all of your useful items into your main storage room. It is a very strong mod indeed. Now there is a bunch of different items it adds. You can also make yourself some framed drawers, which just means you can change the texture of a drawer to match whatever block you want. Right now you're looking at a full cobblestone storage drawer with a piece of cobblestone in it. And here we go, here is one that looks like a barrel. You can have a lot of fun with texturing these drawers. It also adds different variations of size drawers, so right here we have got a drawer that can store 4 different items. Let's say we want to store our mechanical pumps, we want to store a bucket of lava, we want to store an ender drawer in here, and a belt. We can now store those in this drawer, however the quantity is reduced by 4, so we can now only store 512 of each item. Now of course, you can increase this to ridiculous amounts anyway. This is just a compact way of storing 4 items instead of having 4 individual storage drawers. And you can even do something like this where we've got lava and water being stored in the same drawer. But that, my friends, is a very quick introduction to my favorite mod to use with Create, and that is the functional storage. But that brings us to the end of our list. If you think I missed anything important, then please leave me a comment down below. What's your favorite mod to use with Create? But as always, I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.